program being about the earliest English settlers of Massachusetts, I took a look at some of Northborough's earliest settlers and their origins. I was led to Nathaniel I. Oak because of an inquiry the Society received recently from a seventh great-grandson of his. Oak doesn't go as far back as 1620, and he's not too far off that year. Like many people these days, Bill Clemens, who lives in the Midwest, is working on his genealogy, and he has a hole in Nathaniel's biography. That is, where is Nathaniel buried? According to his family records, Nathaniel was born in England, and some say Wales, in 1645, and emigrated to America around 1660. And therein lies an interesting tale. Rather than paraphrasing the early story, I'll quote a brief report from an Oakes family genealogy entry. By the way, the family members seem to spell the name any way they chose. It was O-A-K, or O-K-E, or O-A-K-S, or O-K-E-S, which makes it kind of hard when you're trying to search the genealogy. So anyway, here's an edited version of what they say. Nathaniel I. Oak, farmer, was born in 1945. He immigrated from 1660 to 1665. Of our immigrant ancestors' nationality, we have only a vague tradition that he came from Wales. Probably he was of English stock, and a writer of 1826 calls him an Englishman. Of his coming to America, we have the following record. Doubtless his own statement, handed down to his grandchildren, and by the son of one of them, John Conant, who inscribed this in the family Bible. The grandfather of my mother was a cabin boy on an English vessel bound to Boston. 9 miles from land, the vessel foundered. All the ship's crew, except the boy, whose name was Oakes, were lost. He being a good swimmer, swam ashore. In his distress, he solemnly promised the Lord, if he would preserve him, to get to land, he would never go into the water again. This promise he sincerely kept. His wife, my great-grandmother, could never persuade him to cross the Charles River in a boat to Boston. He would always go around the neck. Thus he reached his after home, poor and penniless, without even clothes to cover him. And as was then the custom, having no friends in America, he was bound out to earn a living. His master set him to work in a pitch pine forest to pick up pine knots. In this employ, he was attacked by a catamount, or wildcat, which he slew with a large pine knot. His master gave him the bounty the state paid for the animal. So, either this is a harrowing account of his arrival in America, if it is true, or Nathaniel was a good yarn spinner. At any rate, he married Mehitable Readiar in 1686 and moved to the northwest corner of Marlborough, which is now Northborough. They lived on Whitney Street on property inherited from her father. The site is now occupied by the historic Peter Whitney House. Nathaniel and Mehitable had no children when she died in 1702. He soon married Mary Holloway and fathered 8 children with her. He died in Northborough, which was then Westborough, in 1721. And this is where Bill Clemens comes in. As I said, he is searching for Nathaniel's burial place. The Society has a list of persons buried in the ancient cemetery on Brigham Street, and there is a Nathaniel Oak buried there. Aha, there he is, Bill thought. But it turns out it is Nathaniel's son of the same name. The dates definitely don't match. Well, by searching online, I found a reference to Nathaniel with the right dates on the site called Find a Grave. It indicates he is buried in the old Common Cemetery on Prospect Street in Marlborough, but there is no headstone. I also found a reference on that site to Mahitable, his wife, on that site. So it is likely that he is there as well. A contact at the Marlborough Cemetery Department told me they have no records dating that far back due to a fire at City Hall. So I'll keep working on this for Bill, and we'll try to confirm the old Common Cemetery references. And it appears it is likely he is there. And so that is how a Northborough Historical Society historian can while away many hours.